8 lifestyle changes newlyweds will definitely undergo. Hi friends, welcome to Marriage Realities, a comprehensive relationship channel. Today's video will be talking about the inevitable lifestyle changes newlyweds will undergo. Most newlyweds assume that the married life will be as rosy as the love days. It is because when you're newly married, your love for your spouse is at its peak. So you assume that everything will be fine with your married life, come what may. You're dead sure that nothing can go wrong between you and your spouse. But very soon you're in for a shock. After the bliss of your honeymoon days are over, your relationship with your spouse undergoes such negative changes that you're shocked and depressed that your love should have such a short lifespan. You never in your wildest dreams assumed that such worst scenario could exist in your married life. Do not worry that your marriage is a failure. The changes in your married life cannot be avoided. It just means that your relationship is turning to be real and true. Here are the 8 inevitable lifestyle changes newlyweds will definitely undergo. The number 1 lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept is your honeymoon days will not last forever. Your love for each other is at its peaks during your love days and during the initial days of your marriage. You're absolutely thrilled to spend your time with your spouse. Your interaction with your spouse is full of laughter and fun. But after the initial sheen of your love wears off, everything about your marriage and your spouse seems boring and dull to you. Many things happen in your marriage that makes you feel that your spouse is not suitable to you. You soon become depressed that your married life is not what you imagined it to be. No, you should not feel so. You must understand that your honeymoon days cannot continue forever. Your married life must come to reality. So do not feel alarmed by the changeover in your feelings towards your spouse. It just means you have stopped being unrealistic and have started to feel realistic about your spouse. This is an inevitable change newlyweds cannot avoid. The number 2 lifestyle change newlyweds must accept is bidding goodbye to your honeymoon days and coming back to reality. Before your marriage, your relationship with your spouse is carefree and pure fun. Since you have no responsibility towards each other, you find spending time with your spouse to be enjoyable. But everything changes drastically after your marriage. You have such loads of responsibilities to fulfill in your married life. You find it impossible to dodge your responsibilities. You have money-related responsibility. As you must make your family financially secure, you work yourself threadbare to earn more money. You have tons of work-related pressures which constantly makes you feel stressed and tensed. And you bring your work-related tension right into your home and make your interaction with your spouse all heated and hostile. This is also normal. Responsibilities is part of your marriage package. Marriage by itself is a responsible relationship. You must understand that you're being responsible for your own family. When you marry a spouse, you marry your responsibilities also. You cannot do away with it. The number 3 lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept is foregoing intolerance. Before your marriage, you might have been impatient and impulsive, but after your marriage, you cannot afford to be so. If you continue to be impatient after your marriage, it will only create tons of unwanted relationship issues between you and your spouse. Your spouse might have overlooked your impatience before marrying you. But after your marriage, you must realize that your spouse will not overlook your anger, hastiness, and violent temper. So, you must practice tolerance towards your spouse if you want your marriage to succeed. You might not like many things your spouse does, but you have no other go than overlook it. You must also learn to tolerate the different attitude your spouse has towards life. Being different from you is not wrong. In fact, it is a prerogative of your spouse. The number 4 lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept is to learn that your spouse will always be different from you. Before marriage, most of you assume that you and your spouse will think and act alike. You're also smug that there will be no clash of opinion between you. This is where you go wrong. When you expect a Xerox copy of your thoughts and actions in your spouse, it's not going to happen. The reality is that your spouse will be entirely different from you in many ways. The attitude of your spouse towards life will be entirely different from you. The outlook of your spouse towards handling money will vary from you. You need not worry about it. These differences which exist between you and your spouse will actually add more spice to your marriage. The number 5 lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept is realizing that a marriage will not work on its own. During your love days, you could not have enough of each other. Both displayed your love for each other that intensely. So, you casually assume that your marriage will work on its own without you contributing your part to it. This can never happen in reality. To enjoy stability, your marriage needs nurturing from you. As newlyweds, you assume that your marriage will work without your contribution. But after a few months of your marriage, you realize that you must do many things to make your spouse feel loved by you. You understand that you cannot spend your time alone doing your own thing and that you must spend quality time with your spouse. You also realize that you must be tolerant and patient towards your spouse. You understand that you must be loving and caring towards your spouse. You also realize that you must interact with each other with love if you want your marriage to survive. Yes, unless you nurture a relationship with your spouse, your marriage will wither away. The number 6 lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept is that their expectations will never happen in reality. Most of you have great dreams about your marriage where nothing can go wrong between you. But after a few years of your marriage, you're stunned to see that most of your dreams remain a dream. In fact, your dreams about a perfect marriage and a perfect spouse are crushed just a few years of marriage when you face many relationship issues which you never really thought existed. Your spouse does not have the image he or she showed to you before marriage. You find that the true colors of your spouse are not quite to your liking. You often struggle to come in terms with the reality of facing in your married life. So different and so unexpected from your imagination. The number 7 lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept is to know that fighting is normal. During your love days, you do not fight with your spouse. But after marriage, you find yourself fighting with your spouse quite often. There's no need to feel alarmed when you fight with your spouse. You're bound to have a different opinion from that of your spouse. So, it's also normal to fight with your spouse to emphasize your differing thoughts. You must understand that fighting with your spouse is not out of lack of love. You're just letting off some steam of anger, nothing else. The number 8 lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept is your spouse will not change according to your liking. Before marriage, you assume that your spouse will change himself or herself according to your liking. But after your marriage, you are taken aback when your spouse remains what he or she is. This is also perfectly normal. You should accept the fact that your spouse will always be what he or she is and not what you want him or her to be. Can you see how different your marriage is from what you dreamed it to be? The reality of your marriage will always be different from the real marriage you had imagined and dreamed about. When you're newly married, you will definitely struggle with many disappointments about your spouse. But as years go by, you will understand your spouse far better. This is when you will find true happiness in your married life. Did this video make you understand the lifestyle changes newlyweds must accept in the married life? Marriage realities will have many such relationship eye-openers. Subscribe to my channel to understand your marriage in a new light. Press the bell icon for updates about my latest relationship videos. Make love forever until death do us part, your relationship goal.